it's almost like the old days.
It is almost like the old days. We should go back to a website.
We should go back to a
Oh,
website.
you. Okay, so there's an old website called homestarrunner.com. It predates YouTube.
I've heard of it.
Predates YouTube, and it is just a bunch of cartoon characters doing not adult humor, just humor that appeals to everybody, but not like Simpsons, Family Guy adult humor. They'll still do the odd nod to something expressly adult related, but still. They recently, the creators of the website recently released a video called Let's Go Back to a Website, where the animated characters from the show that they've been doing for the last 20 years go, hey, do you remember when the internet was more than just 4 websites that you accessed on your phone? We should do that. We should go back to a website, a good old-fashioned type in some words into an internet browser website that has like a hit tracker and a guest book and a site map.
What's it called? The rings, where you and your buddies all set up your websites, and you'll have like
Yes,
the
site rings.
the web ring. What was it?
Or it's like a web. I think it is web rings that you're talking about.
Is it web ring?
Yeah,
I
know.
So you have like the link at the bottom, where you click the next site.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. So I played that bit for stream because it's a song. It's an actual song that they get into, and it makes me feel for an era of the internet that I know that we will never get back. Also, speaking of eras of the internet we will never get back, that whole segment is done in Flash animation because
of course it is.
because there's a Flash emulator that was created so that websites that were originally made in Flash did not die. So it's great.
Anyone else remember forums? Forums still exist.
Yeah, there's only.
I just don't have the time for them anymore.
So forums still exist, but there's only one forum anymore. It's called Reddit. That's the closest thing to a forum that we still have that is accessed by multiple.
Sorry,
people.
Van Briggs. Oh no, there's still a little splash in there.
You
I'll
can
get the
wet your
splash.
throat. There you go. Get that in there, boy. I love gargles.
Yeah.
Also, my unfinished journey. Thank you very much for the 222. Hail, Nero, Suris, and Rhino, and well-planned cities.
Get Unicorn Carry, available at merch.vicerhino.com.
Mr. Gibble-Pibble.
Don't buy the hat, it's way too expensive.
Mr. Gibble-Pibble says the cheat is not dead. You're right. The cheat is not dead. The cheat is not dead. I'm going to play that song after this. I will.
Okay, sure. You go for it. So I went down memory lane the other day. I forget how I even got on the subject, but I thought like something reminded me of 1080 snowboarding, the N64 game.
Yeah, we were talking about this last stream.
Okay, well, it must have just been on my, because this is just something that happened yesterday. Yeah. Did we talk about it last stream?
We did. We were talking about old N64 games.
Specifically 1080 snowboarding.
It was a thing that was brought up during the conversation.
Okay, I have no memory of that, and I don't think I was drinking.
I don't remember if you were drinking, but neither do you, so...
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Anyway, yeah, it came to mind again, and so I only just now, like yesterday, learned that the snowboarders in 1080 snowboarding were not based on real people. Because I also grew up playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and I knew Tony Hawk was a real guy, I just kind of assumed that these were like real snowboarders who they got to like sign a deal with them or whatever. So this makes it extra funny now that they chose for the Canadian snowboarder to name him Ricky Winterbourne.
Okay.
Oh, I remember what it was. After I connected my Blue Sky account to my website, so now I'm just at vicerhino.com on Blue Sky. I wanted to see if Buffer would still post to it because it never updated on Buffer. Mm-hmm. So I posted, this is a test, this is only a test. And then that got that song from 1080 Snowboarding stuck in my head.
Also,
so I
Van Briggs, thank you for
up with like.
Thank you for the hydrate, Van Briggs. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, as I posted that, I was like, yeah, there are two kinds of people in the world: those who hear that and think of the actual like voice saying that on the radio, and people who played 1080 snowboarding.
Sylvie says, "Oh, 1080 degrees from the N64." Yes,
Not 1080 degrees.
that's
1080 snowboarding. Yes, there was a degree
there's
sign. There's
definitely a degree sign there.
Yeah, but you don't say it. It's just 1080
No,
snowboarding.
Florida has told me that I am not allowed to use nicknames without parental consent. So until the company that developed that game tells me I'm allowed to call it 1080, it has to be 1080 degrees or I'm going to lose my job.
So here's the thing. The opening thing is like, dun, dun, dun. And then a guy yells out, 1080. And there is no degrees. So he says it right in the first seconds of booting up the game.
Yeah, but did he consent to me saying that? Rather, did his parents consent to me saying that?
I'm sure they did.
Okay.
That game had a bopping soundtrack.
You know,
I'm gonna bust out my N64 at some point. Anyway,
I set up mine in the living room to play Mario Kart with everybody during a Korean barbecue at my house.
yeah, see, the thing is, nobody, like, all of my kids would play N64 games and be like, this sucks, it's too old.
I mean,
the controls are too hard.
I mean, you can just tell them to get good and show them that your dad is better at them than they are, and they can fuck off.
Oh yeah, I could. I don't think I could do a 1080 in 1080 snowboarding if I booted it up today, but I could definitely unlock all of the secret characters without having to like look up a guide or anything.
You sit a kid down with Banjo-Kazooie and you ask them, do you love this or do you hate it? And if they say they hate it, they get disowned.
You make them 100%, what's it called? Donkey Kong World?
Oh, Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah, make them 100% that thing.
So they have to, what was it, 102% was what it was?
Well, I wouldn't be mean and make them find the hidden coins.
Look,
fucking speedrunners didn't find those for decades. I'm not going to expect my kids to find them.
Fair.
Yeah, no, okay, so we're starting with the Babylon Bee.
Yay.
And they're making a joke that is so old that it's a joke that I made when I was homophobic.
Okay, well...
that's so long ago that was before I sucked a dick.
So, do you want to put the thing on for us to see?
I do.
Because that would be fantastic.
There we go. Yeah. MS-13 added to the LGBTQ acronym. Do you remember back when people were like, oh, the acronym keeps growing, it keeps getting bigger, it's LGBTQ, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
You know what's funny is that
the Q is just kind of all encompassing. It takes care of anything that's not in the first four.
I have very rarely, so like I've only heard two kinds of people use anything longer than like LGBTQ plus, and it's either people who are taking the piss on the acronym, or it is people who, while they are on the left, and I probably agree with 99% of what they say, I would rather not associate with them because holy fucking shit. There are some people that are just fucking weird.
I do think adding 2S to the beginning, the 2S LGBTQ, that is valid, because that's
Two-Spirit.
Yeah, and so that's a cultural take on gender that doesn't really fit within the trans or non-binary system. So it's different enough that I feel like it like I'm not gonna see that and be like, oh, that's so cringy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't think it's necessary, but I understand why some people do it.
It's just, again, like, I very rarely see it extended too far unless it is somebody who is, again, taking the piss, or somebody who... The type of person who will find a problematic spin to almost anything you say, which, to be fair...
Hi.
Is such a small percentage of anybody in activism circles that it's a type of person I've only experienced like twice in my life being in a very political space.
Yeah, but also like they're adding MS-13 to it. Like that's not even like I see what they're going for,
but it doesn't make any sense.
But, like it doesn't. Like, in order for a joke to be funny, it has to actually, like, have some sort of face validity to it. Because like it's like no, there's just no world in which gang affiliation would be added to this acronym for any reason.
See, my Unfinished Sock says, "Don't play Mario Kart, like and share instead." Appreciated, but also play Mario Kart. It's a fun game.
Like and share and then play Mario Kart.
True.
I like, you know what? I think my favorite version of Mario Kart, and this might end up being a hot take, was Mario Kart 8 on the Wii, not the Switch version.
Okay, so you mean on the Wii U?
I have never touched a Wii U in my life.
All right, so then that's Mario Kart Wii.
Sure.
Because Mario Kart 8 is Wii U and Switch.
Did they maybe backport it?
No, they did not. I promise you.
Okay. Well, then Mario Kart Wii is my favorite Mario Kart.
I mean, I enjoy it.
The one that I play Mario Kart 8 on the Switch because that's most convenient.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't feel like setting up the Wii and having cables running across my living room because they don't have wireless controllers for it.
Wait,
yes, I know you can get third-party wireless controllers for it, but those things are shit.
For the Wii? The Wii has only wireless controllers. That's...
Oh, no. We plug GameCube controllers in.
Okay, so just get Wavebirds. And also Wavebirds aren't...
The fuck is a Wavebird?
Wavebird is the...
third-party wireless one?
It's the actually good wireless controller for the GameCube that gets used by people who play Smash Brothers competitively due to low latency.
Okay.
I'm sitting here hearing words that, like, because Nintendo fanboy circle has been my blood since I was like 12, I'm just like, there's so much wrong with the words you're saying, I have to correct them as they come up.
Okay, that's fine.
But I do understand the issue with the GameCube controllers, especially because for some reason they have some of the smallest cords of any console ever. It's like 4 feet of cord and that's it.
Yeah. My living room wasn't big growing up, but I feel like I was never constrained by the cord. But then when I started using the GameCube controller cords, it was just like, nope, this is not
genuinely awful enough.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so the Babylon Bee continues to not be funny.
Who would have thought?
Surprise. Then we get Benny Johnson, who says, breaking, President Trump is putting up 2 huge American flags at the White House, and he's paying for them himself. They've needed flagpoles for 200 years, paid for by Trump.
Wait, 2 American flags at the White House, and he's paying, like, what, a couple $100? Who the fuck cares? He's a multi-billionaire.
I think if he's putting up the poles as well, he might be paying a few thousand.
He's a multi-billionaire. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but also, like, they make such a big deal. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, no, I donate my presidential salary to the government every year, and I've always done that. And it's like, okay, but yeah, every single one of your golf trips costs an order of magnitude more than your annual salary, at least, for the American taxpayers. So, like, if you actually cared about saving money for the American taxpayers, you would golf less.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, I'm not going to be impressed by him spending a little bit of money to put up a flagpole when he spends a lot of taxpayer money to play golf. And we didn't even cover it, but like he skipped out on the funeral of American soldiers who died in active duty in order to play golf with Saudi royalty.
This man's got his priorities. What can you say?
Like, and he won that tournament because he wins every tournament that he's in because he cheats at golf.
Remember, he has exactly the perfect biometrics all the time.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 225, and I scored the highest marks on the cognitive test, even though that's not how cognitive tests are marked.
I scored the highest. Actually, no, you want to score lower. Then I scored the... I can't say that. I can't say I scored the lowest. It feels wrong.
Do you think he's ever done that with golf, where he's been cheating? And he's like, yeah, no, I got the highest score. Just because he's a fucking
Without
imbecile?
realizing that you'd want lower score in golf?
Like, I feel like at this point he's got that down. But I feel like the first time he played golf at one of his own clubs or whatever, he probably did brag
Double
about
the plan,
his high
thanks for
score.
points for an owl. Yeah, I do not like him.
I can't see him not doing that.
Senshini says, who would win in golf on one-on-one, Trump or Kim Jong-un? They would tie. That's what would happen. They would tie.
It'd be like one of those Fast and the Furious movies where both the lead actors have in their contract that they're not allowed to lose a fight. So that's why I think it was Vin Diesel and The Rock, when they were in the Fast and Furious movie together. Anytime they were fighting, the fights always ended in these weird standoffs because they both had it in their contract that they weren't allowed to lose.
It's such a weird... That's such a stupidly weird thing to have in a contract.
I could see Sean Bean putting in his contract that he will not die.
Yeah, it's still like
But like at the same time, like you're in a movie, you're an actor. People know it's not been like, no, I have to be a tough guy. I cannot be seen to lose. It's like, okay, why does that matter? You're like, it's a character. It's not you.
Yeah, it's ego. It's ego.
Yeah. Well, it's also like neither of them are particularly good actors, so that might explain some of that.
What do we got next?
Next, we've got
Of course.
Oh my
Classic.
god, this. I was laughing so hard when I was reading this the first time. So apparently, a lot of the bigger creators are taking a pay cut on Twitter recently, which is fine by me. Good for them. You deserve to lose all your money. He says, the last 3 or 4 weeks, the algorithm has been so bad on X, it's hard to justify putting 12 to 15 hours a day on here.
Who puts 12 to 15 hours a day onto Twitter? Who and why?
It's 12 to 15 hours a day on touch grass. Touch fucking grass.
Go outside.
Look at the sky.
Meet women.
This is me talking here. I almost never go outside. I can't imagine sitting here for 12 to 15 hours a day just tweeting. Fuck. Oh my god. Busting your ass. Yeah, you're busting your ass because you're not getting any exercise, man. You're just gonna...
The only thing he's busting is something else. Because his algorithm has definitely showed him a bunch of trans women.
Yeah. And he says, I've talked to hundreds of large account creators, and it's the same for all of them. None of them understand this insane strategy. It makes no sense throttling the hell out of everyone when X should want their advertisers getting as many views as possible. Counterpoint, anytime I go on to Twitter nowadays to collect these tweets, I have to scroll past like 4 or 5 ads for every one real tweet that I see.
Yeah.
So like, it's not about showing ads. I just don't get it. I know everyone understands what I'm talking about because it's happening to everyone. Okay. I have a theory here.
Okay.
Did you hear that story about, I think we might have talked about it last week, where Musk, he started following this this influencer and
yes,
interacting with her, and then he like messaged her privately and was like, I would like you to have my baby. And she said no. And so then he immediately like cut her Twitter premium payments in half. So I feel like that hit the news. And then he, this is his damage control. Oh shit, I can't make it look like I did that just to her out of spite. So now I'm going to do it to
everybody's got to get kind of sort of throttled.
Yeah, so he, like him throttling everyone is damage control for his own bruised ego. That is my theory. I don't know if that is true. This is my speculation, but I feel like it's true.
Big if true?
Very big. The biggest.
Been a bust. Last 3 or 4 weeks, 12 to 15 hours a day. I'm gonna coom, Kyle.
12 to 15 hours a day. 12 to 15 hours a day on Twitter. Oh my god. No wonder this guy's brain is mush. Mine would be too if I spent 12 to 15 hours a day in that hellscape. Like seriously, just collecting tweets has become this massive. Like, I started this show because I was on Twitter and I was finding a way to monetize my distraction. Because I would get distracted from my regular job with Twitter. So I was like, okay, well, as long as I'm here, I'll take some screenshots of some stupid people saying funny things and make fun of it and turn that into a show. And so I am monetizing my distraction. Now that I have to actually go back to Twitter, it's just like, no, this place is so horrible.
This place sucks.
No, it's the worst. But yeah, so I can't with the 12 to 15 hours a day.
I'm busting my ass 12 to 15 hours a day on twitter.com. Don't you understand? Don't you understand my pain?
So pathetic. Oh, yeah, and we have Elon Musk says infiltration of the judiciary throughout the West is the greatest long con of the left.
Projection, because this is what he's been doing.
Yeah, so this is him saying that, like, oh, well, Biden let people into the country without them going through any sort of legal process, so why can't I make them leave the country without making them go through a legal process? Like, because if you get the wrong person, then you have done a big crime. That is why. Yeah, so just infiltrating the judiciary is a long con. Let me just read the Supreme Court in order of seniority. Roberts, appointed by Bush. No, this isn't by seniority. Fuck, I don't know what order. This is the order that they have it posted in on the Supreme Court website. Yep. But Roberts, appointed by Bush. Thomas, Bush Sr. Alito, Bush. Sotomayor, Obama. Kagan, Obama. Gorsuch, Trump. Kavanaugh, Trump. Barrett, Trump. Jackson, Biden. So I don't know if you noticed that, but 6 out of 9 of those were Republicans.
Yep.
And 3 out of 6 of those were Trump. Trump has appointed a third of the Supreme Court, and Republicans appointed more than half of the Supreme Court. And yet, that is leftist infiltration of the judiciary?
Look, according to Trump, and I believe him because he's a genius. He has to be. This is reality. And I know that my golf king would never lie to me.
Oh. Did you see that? Olivia Williams says, Vice Rhino, you need to like and share. Vice Rhino needs you to like and share. Thank you, Olivia. Did you see that clip of, it was Bill Maher talking to Charlie Kirk, I think?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah, so they were talking about Trump and how, and the deportations and everything. And so, and Bill Maher brought up of course, he's playing the leftist in this scenario, even though he's Bill fucking Maher. Chessa. Gross. Both those names are gross. Agree. But Bill Maher was playing the leftist here. And so he brought up the deportations. He's like, he mentioned, like, Trump is saying that he's going to do American citizens next. And Charlie Kirk's response to that was like, oh, do you really think he was serious about that? Come on. Like, why would you think he's not?
Why are we not allowed to take our president seriously?
Every single, not even that, but like every single time he has said that he wants to do a thing, that when we point out he said he wants to do the thing, the defense has been, he was clearly just joking. He has actively tried to do that thing. So why would we think this time is different? Like, maybe when he says he wants to do a thing, just believe that that is a thing that he wants to do. He also doubled down on that later. Like, Charlie Kirk's defense of that was like, oh, he was just like joshing around with Bukele. It was like, okay, but then he went to a press conference and said it again when Bukele wasn't there. Is that joking around with Bukele at that point?
Yes, definitely, 110%. Again, my golf king would never lie to me. You don't understand. He was just having he was just having locker room talk with Bukaki, okay?
Locker room Bukaki is the best Bukaki. But yeah, so that's where we are. They're trying to pull the he's just joking defense again.
Just these fuckers.
I don't even know who these fuckers are, but they say that Jordan Peterson has gone full woke.
Is it because of his recent thing on the Joe Rogan podcast?
I couldn't actually find specifics, but what I was gathering, and I assumed that this was his recent appearance on Joe Rogan, what I was gathering was basically he said there are some narcissists in the Republican Party who are just saying what they need to say in order to gain and maintain power. And that is what they consider woke. And I don't think he even said that specifically about Trump, who is the most obvious example of that.
I can't fathom a world where Jordan Peterson is anybody's idea of woke.
Yeah, I checked Peterson's timeline to see if he was saying anything quote unquote woke. He's still complaining about trans people. Like, that's still his thing. He's still complaining about the about having to do sensitivity training or whatever with regards to using people's preferred pronouns. Like, how is that woke? How is that even close to woke?
I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. These two fuckers, I can't get through more than 5 minutes of their podcast because it is just them sucking each other off, and not in a good way. Anytime that they are talking, it is it's very hard to describe the visceral reaction that I get when hearing these two people talk.
Is it the same as what's his face's reaction to seeing a VTuber?
No. Destiny. So Destiny's reaction is at the very least kind of funny, right?
It was. I was moderately amused by it, I will admit.
That's different than these guys. I do not want to describe the emotions that go through my brain.
Yeah, no. I had no idea who these people were. I don't know how they got on my timeline. But I saw that and was like, oh, yeah, that's a clip for Twit Tweets, because there's no way Jordan Peterson has actually gone woke.
Yep.
Also, he's gone full woke. Full woke would imply that he's flipped sides and is now an SJW leftist.
They must be talking
whatever
about him waking up from his 6-month hiatus from reality so he could clear all of the opiates out of his system.
Yeah, his coma that he had to go to Russia for because it's not legal to do that here because it's an incredibly dangerous procedure. Sure.
Yeah.
Jennifer Greenberg says, I'm not anti-vaccine, but it bothers me that my kid's pediatrician has repeatedly strongly advised the HPV vaccine for STDs. They wanted to give it to my 9-year-old and 10-year-old today. I plan to get a new pediatrician years, blah, 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 whatever. Like, HPV is not human papillomavirus is transmitted sexually, but like...
It is also one of the most common infections in the world.
And it causes cancer. So like it or not, your kids are probably at some point in their lives going to have sex.
Even if they don't.
Statistically speaking, the person that they are going to have sex with probably has HPV.
So
why would you not want them to get vaccinated against that?
Other bit of information. Many forms of the human papillomavirus are not sexually transmitted. In fact, most of them are not sexually transmitted. So, maybe a good idea to make sure that these things are taken care of. This is an STD. That is technically not a false statement. There are forms of the human papillomavirus which are sexually transmitted, or papillomavirus. I was thinking I was saying it incorrectly, and then I looked up the wording and like, nope, I am saying it correctly. But
papilloma.
It is also the most common of the sexually transmitted diseases that exist in the world.
Yeah, something like, I don't know if it's current, but the last number I saw was like 80% of women in particular have HPV. So it's like, that's a pretty high percentage.
What was it?
If you'd like to not get cancer, it's a good idea to not get the virus. And there's an easy way to not get the virus.
I'm just remembering the line from the Harley Quinn show where somebody goes, don't sleep with her. She's got herpes. And then Bane steps up and is just like, actually, most sexually active adults have that. And just something about Bane being the one to step up and inform everybody of that is one of the best lines. And I believe they were saying it at the bar mitzvah for the Penguin's son as well, if memory serves, like when that happened in that story.
Yeah, like when I came back on the dating market, I actually I got my doctor to prescribe me the HPV vaccine. I never did get around to it, and now I'm in a mostly monogamous relationship, so there's not really a whole lot of point in me getting it because it's also like $500.
Yeah.
So like that's the other thing is that like I don't know what the situation is there, but like for my kids to get it is free. If they wait till they're adults, they have to pay $500 or whatever for it. So it's like, just get it.
It's all of these people who are really, really big on RFK with his unvaccinated and proud shirts that he sells on his website or sold on his website.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, and we all know that in September he's going to come out and be like, we have discovered the cause of autism. It is the vaccines.
Yep. He's going to do the correlation thing.
I don't know why he's waiting till September. Like, does he have a book scheduled to publish around then?
He said that by September they would find everything that they needed to find, and then he backpedaled it to by September we'll find most of what we wanted to find. But I think it's because he needs things to happen at a certain rate for his autism registry to go through. I think he's having to buy enough time for all of that to happen.
That's a massive red flag. Like, on the one hand, I can see an argument for it from the perspective of, like, I've heard so many horror stories from the American medical system where you don't have things in a centralized database or whatever. So like every time you go to a different doctor, you have to go through your history with them completely again. They can't just look it up. And that can be really frustrating for someone who has like a condition that requires going to many different specialists because none of them can just look up what the other doctors have said.
I mean, we had
a little bit foreign.
We had a situation with that recently. So Saki, because we have insurance right now, is looking into bottom surgery. It is something that she has been wanting for ages, for obvious reasons. And I'm ambivalent on the genitalia of my partner, so there's no problems there. So, and as we're talking to the doctor that she has as a primary care physician, he says, he mentions that he's not done this before for people because, again, trans people who are out in Georgia is kind of a rarity. But he mentions, I can't recommend any of that right now because how would it look on me if I did that and it's my first time meeting you as a patient and that's the first thing that I do? And I'm like, yeah, but in a world where we agree that this woman has been out as trans for more of her life than she hasn't been, and she's in her 30s, I feel as though that's enough. Like, he said, yeah, we need to do things like establish a medical need. And I'm like, yeah, the medical need is she's trans. Like, I was being kind of an asshole to the doctor. I'm not even going to lie. But
yeah, and I feel like that's justified. Yeah, but so for a point of comparison, how it works in Canada is like if I go to the emergency room, I can tell them not to tell my doctor that I was there, but if I don't tell them that, then the next time I go to my doctor, they will see on their chart that I went to the emergency room. And it has happened a few times where they've seen that and they've, in the appointment, they've been like, oh, I see you went to the ER. Is everything okay? Like, I see it was this sort of issue. Do you need any follow-up care there? I'm like, nope, we're good. It took care of it or whatever. And I understand that's not really a thing in the States.
Yeah.
And so I can see the appeal of like having things centralized like that, but at the same time, I don't want this administration to be the one to do that.
Yeah, when this admin is going, hey, we just need to make a list of all the autistic people.
We want to know where all the disabled people are because they will never pay taxes. I mean, write poetry.
Nah, he said right. He said never pay taxes, and also they'll never go out on a date. They'll never be able to use the toilet. And I'm just sitting there like,
well, to be fair, the never use the toilet thing was qualified with some of them. All the rest of them seem to be applied to all of them.
And I'm just sitting there going, man, I'm fairly certain that I went out on a date with my partner like a couple days ago, and she's autistic, so I don't know what you're talking about. As far as taxes, I know she's had to pay those too, and they sucked because we have to pay double taxes as content creators, which is stupid, but it is how things are in the States. I don't know if they're the same in Canada.
I don't know about double taxes, but I do pay a lot more taxes than I did. Well, it's not necessarily that I pay more taxes than I did before. It's that I have to pay it myself. It doesn't just get taken off my paycheck.
Oh, no, we actually get an extra tax that is called the, like, for Georgia State, it was called the self-employment tax. You just have to pay an extra bit. So for me, like, my self-employment tax was $850. And this year only, they cut the self-employment tax in half as like a temporary thing. And I don't know why. I'm happy that it cost me less in taxes, but why the fuck do I have to pay more for not working for an abusive employer? Like,
oh, really? Apparently, since then he has clarified that he's referencing full-blown autism. Like, come on.
No, he doesn't get to move the goalposts.
Yeah, but even if he could the guy that's in charge of the Department of Health and Human Services not at least look up the language to use when talking about autistic people?
No, we're talking. Sorry, I have to say it as if I'm the RFK from the Meat Canyon video. No, we're talking about full-blown autism. Sorry, I think it is perfectly fine to make fun of the way he fucking speaks because of the words he fucking says.
I don't disagree, but at the same time, I don't want to hear, like, I can't listen to his voice.
I can't.
He actually triggers my misophonia, and you were getting close to it. So, like, nope, just stop.
Apologies that I was being that accurate.
Yeah, Jassa says, the fuck does that mean? I have an ASD diagnosis. How is that not full blown?
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. The dude still Stop says full-blown autism is almost exactly a Nazi talking point. Zero Life King says his voice is a hate crime. Sabrina says, I'm the guy asking for higher taxes at political events. The thing is that higher taxes don't solve anything if they are implemented incorrectly. And the problem is, we would very likely implement higher taxes for people at the lowest tax brackets, and then people at the highest tax brackets would still not fucking pay what they're supposed to pay.
What would be more likely to happen, in my opinion, is that they would implement a higher tax for people in the higher tax brackets, but there'd be enough loopholes that they effectively wouldn't pay it, and it would actually be like a general hike that applies to everybody, but the rich people can afford to hire the accountants that can get them all the tax loopholes.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I forgot to crop this one.
What is this one?
Nancy Mace. Did you see this video?
No, I did not.
So she says, some unhinged lunatic, a man wearing Daisy Dukes. Those aren't Daisy Dukes. Those are just shorts. Like, they are on the short side, but it's hardly Daisy Dukes. Daisy Dukes at a makeup store got in my face today. Dems are nuts, so I went off, and I won't be backing down. I hold the line 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Try me. So what happened, if you watch the video, this guy walked up to her in the store and asked her if she's going to have a town hall. And then she blew her fucking top at him, started telling him to stay away from her, like, get out of my face. I had lots of town halls last time. She was swearing at him. And he's just like, I just asked you if you were going to have a town hall, man. Why the reaction? And she just kept going off on him. And eventually she's like, oh, and by the way, I voted for gay marriage twice. To which his response was, what does that have anything to do with this? So she's like, she just saw him. He had a bit of an effeminate character to him, plus the shorts. And she assumes that therefore he's gay, therefore he should appreciate that she voted for gay marriage twice.
What if he's just a huggable bear twink that has a butch wife?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know his fucking relationship dynamic. I don't
Neither
know.
do I. Like, yeah, he did have the vibes that you would expect of a gay person, but like, that doesn't necessarily mean they are. And also, like, who cares? His question had nothing to do with gay rights. It was, when are you holding a town hall, or are you going to be holding a town hall?
I voted for gay marriage.
Also, remember, if I remember correctly, Nancy Mace is also the person that, like, when the guy from the foster home place, like, shook her hand and asked her if she's going to protect the trans kids that are in the foster care system, her response to that was to go, ow, my arm, you shook my hand too hard, I'm suing you. And that got tossed out of court because it was on video, and he very clearly just shook her hand normally.
Stop.
So she is an attention whore. She wants to be on the stage, and I guess we are kind of enabling that here. But like, she wants people to pay attention to her, and so she will find any way to play the victim. And like, she repeatedly told him to get out of her face. The distance he is from her in this picture right now, that's about as close as he ever got.
Get out of my face, ma'am. I am maintaining 6 feet of distance.
Yeah, like, I am social distance to a point where, like, we could be having this discussion during the COVID times.
Jesus.
But yeah, that's all up in your face, I guess.
Stop says, the term is not bear twink, Suris, it's otter. How many times do I have to tell you? I'm sorry to utterly disappoint you.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I otter. It's unbearable.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
I hope my humor and general disposition continues to give you a twinkle in your eye.
Okay, so Mac posted this. Says, when you're finally invested in a show, then two guys start kissing out of nowhere.
Is it really out of nowhere?
I'm just like, I gathered from the replies that this is about The Last of Us, which I've never seen, nor do I intend to.
Last of Us has gay people in it in the apocalypse. Cool.
Yeah, but is it it's a zombie one, right?
Kind of, sort of, yes.
Okay, I don't like zombies.
There's zombies made from fungi.
I don't care. I'm not into zombies. The only zombie movie I've seen is World War Z.
That thing is shit.
I know. You want to hear the only reason I saw it?
Was it the only way to get pussy? Like, what was? I don't know what the situation was.
No, because Peter Capaldi was in it.
Okay.
When Peter Capaldi fuck, I just blanked on his name after I said it immediately. When he became the Doctor on Doctor Who, and I found out that he played WHO Doctor in the zombie movie, I was like, okay, I'll watch that zombie movie.
Okay.
And I thought it was an enjoyable watch from the perspective of someone who likes bad movies.
I could not stand it because I've read the book, and the book is really good and is one of my favorite books.
And they ruined it.
And it is
actually. So the author of the book apparently came out and was like, "Oh, it's a pretty good movie. It's not my book, but it was an enjoyable movie."
I believe the exact words of the author were, the only thing that movie has in common with my book is the title.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, that's the only zombie thing that I've ever tolerated, and it's like, yeah, I didn't like the zombie aspect of it, but like, it was enjoyable from a bad movie perspective. But anyway, my point here is that, like, as I was scrolling, I saw it and it's just like, what a fucking snowflake. Like, seriously, every accusation is a confession. These people call us the liberal snowflakes, but like, two guys kiss and now you can't watch the show because of it? Like, hey, here's a thought. Not all of us like to see straight couples kissing. Like that, I I don't particularly care for straight couples making out in movies. I don't really enjoy that. But I accept that that is a thing that happens because it's a thing that happens. So like I'm gonna have to see that sometimes. I don't need to post to social media about like, oh, I can't watch this show anymore because people that I didn't want to see kissed.
Now Kith.
Yeah, no, like that's just it's not a thing that I enjoy watching, but it happens.
Sylvia says,
get over it. Don't be a snowflake.
I'm so tired of all the hetero romance being shoved into everything. I hot take on that. I hate that opinion as much as I hate the I'm so tired of all the gay romance shoved into things. It feels like it comes from the same place.
So I do like there are so many examples of shows where they added a will they won't they subplot purely because there was no other romantic plot and they felt like they had to. And I feel like that takes away from the show in general.
Understandable.
But I'm not like against there being romance on principle. It's just I would like it to make sense in the context of the show.
So he says, may I elaborate?
Not just be because like, oh, this is leading man and this is leading woman, so of course they end up together. Like, no, you need to have a better reason than that. Yeah, so many people are mentioning Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
No, I've never seen.
Shaun of the Dead's great.
I've never seen Shaun of the Dead. I'm aware of Shaun of the Dead. I know it's a comedy, but I also feel like, and I know this is probably not the case, but I feel like in order to fully enjoy that, you probably have to see Dawn of the Dead, and I have no desire to see that.
No, you don't.
So I've just...
They are nothing alike. It is just a name pun.
No? Okay.
So Dawn of the Dead is actually my favorite zombie movie of all time. The original, not the remake. So, like, I like Shaun of the Dead. There is zero to do between those two things.
Okay.
But
maybe I will watch Shaun of the Dead at some point then.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead's great. Shaun of the Dead is a wonderful flick, and it's satire but not parody. Like, it's satire of the genre, but it's not parody of any particular one movie.
Oh, so will the fact that I don't watch anything in the genre take away from my experience?
No,
there?
because you know enough about the zombie genre to know you don't like it. You have all the information you need.
Simon Pegg is hilarious in everything he does. He's had serious roles, hasn't he?
Mr. Gibblepibble says, if you want good zombie comedy, Shaun of the Dead is good. It is good. I can also recommend, if you like Star Wars, the book Red Harvest or the book Death Troopers, because zombie apocalypses are canon to the Star Wars universe. They happen, and they're very, very dangerous.
So when you said Red Harvest after Star Wars, my mind immediately went to that movie that what's-his-face made, that like he wanted to make a Star Wars movie and they turned him down, so he just made his own movie. That was a Star Wars knockoff. Zack Snyder. What was that movie?
I have no idea.
It's the one, they, like, half the movie is about harvesting wheat.
Don't think I know.
The fuck is it?
At all.
Rebel something? Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon. Maybe? That might be it.
Possibly.
I'm looking it up. Rebel Moon?
I guess it is Rebel
yes,
Moon.
That's the one. Yeah, I think they made 2 parts of that. I'm not sure if they're making the 3rd because nobody liked the first 2. What? Simon Pegg was in one of the early Doctor Who episodes? Why didn't I know that? I've seen all of those. Like when you say 05, that's Chris Eccleston, right? Who'd he play there? Oh, right. Well, oh, yeah. He's the boss guy on the satellite thing. The editor. Yes, the news editor. Okay. Yeah. I got it. Yeah, Simon Pegg is good. I like Simon Pegg.
Zero Life King says, I assume they're chemical zombies and not mystical undead in the Star
Dude,
Wars.
you have a computer with Google. Yeah,
but it's way more...
Why would I Google it when I can chat GPT?
It's way more fun to have people to talk to than Googling everything, I promise you. Life is way more fun when you discuss
know how boring
things.
the stream would be if every time I forgot something, I turned to Google?
Yeah.
It'd just be a whole stream of just me typing into Google. Anyway, Elon Musk says low birth rates will end civilization.
But
he's retweeting Mario Naufal, who says fertility decline has hit all 50 states, new lows nationwide.
But
blah,
we
blah,
don't
blah, whatever.
have low population. We don't have
Yeah.
the natural end
Also,
thing that the low birth rates are supposed to be something you're afraid of because of.
Yeah, it also it drives me nuts that like the people who are the most vocal supporters of Trump deporting as many people as possible, doing mass deportations, are then turning around and being like, we need to keep our population up. You're like, you know what keeps population up? Immigration, motherfucker.
It does. Also, I have to be right back for 2 seconds.
Wendell
Yay.
says, if a non-believer asks you to share one verse from the Bible, which verse would you share with them? No, not Exodus. Ezekiel 23:20.
Yep.
Ezekiel 23:20.
And she lusted after
There
them.
she lusted after her lovers, whose members were like those of donkeys and whose emissions were like that of a horse.
Yep. Exactly. It's perfect. That is what I would do.
And that's it. We're ending with Wendell.
Fair enough.
I thought as far as Wendell tweets go, that one's a wholesome one. I mean, it's not wholesome, but like as far as Wendell goes, it is. So, hey, it's only 10:44.
It is. That's enough time to...
Jassa says, Endel with the Wendell.
That's enough time to make you play a round of Pokemon Unite with me. I'm kidding.
Nope. I have Swamp Ass. I need to stand up.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing to go, use a bidet about.
I was just going to take a shower.
That also gets rid of Swamp Ass.
I need to go perform hygiene.
Go do a hygiene.
Ooh. I found my beard trimmer finally. Not sure where the charger is for it. So it does have battery right now, so that I'm like worried that I'm going to get like half of it off and then like So yeah. Are you continuing the stream after this?
I think for at least another hour. Yes.
Okay. Showers are just full body bidets. Indeed.
They are.
So yeah, I will raid you, and as always, fuck off.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.